Good evening. We're continuing with the 6th chapter of the Guard Your Eyes series, the Shemirat Enayim. We're going to encounter a very interesting Gemara this evening. It says as follows: Urminhi, Yashav velo avar avera. If you have an individual, now the Gemara is challenging a premise. It's a Masechet Kiddushin. An individual who sits and does not do a sin. Just sitting, doing nothing. He's not doing anything good per se, but he's not doing anything bad. Notnim lo sachar ke'oseh mitzvah. The Gemara says, are you telling me that one who just sits still and does not do an avera, and as well is not doing a mitzvah, will give him the merit as if he did a mitzvah? Look what the Gemara answers. Amar le. You know when that's talking about? Do you know when we give one the merit of a mitzvah if they sit doing nothing? Hatam kegon sheba tevar avera leyado venitzol hamena. If right now there was an opportunity for the individual to sin, however, all they did was they sat back, they did not sin, and even though they did not do a mitzvah, they now get the merit as if they fulfilled a mitzvah. An amazing concept. So every moment one's just sitting still and not doing anything, just sitting quietly, they're not fulfilling a mitzvah, they're not receiving merit for a mitzvah. However, if one, lo alenu, had the opportunity, the temptation of transgressing and doing something inappropriate, and at that moment, they did not do that. Even just by doing nothing, they get the merit of doing a mitzvah. Rashi on that Gemara explains, and I explain.
Which mitzvah?
Which mitzvah? Chazak. So Rashi, look at what Rashi says. Hahu yashav velo avar avera de kamar. This individual who sat and did not fulfill any avera, did not do any transgression, Notel alea schar ba'avera sheba leyado v'kafa yitzro velo avar. And then he says, En mitzvah yitro mizo. He says, the individual now who had the opportunity to do a transgression and he did not, the merit that he gets is seemingly of the highest and loftiest merits. He says as follows, En mitzvah yitro mizo. So you ask the $1 million question, which type of merit does he get? Type of merit, it's a special and elevated and greatest merit possible, even greater seemingly than if one would go and do a mitzvah. Now obviously, one who doesn't do an avirah and goes to do a mitzvah instead of sitting still, his merit is multiplied many times over. But the amazing point that the Gemara is telling us is even sitting still and not doing anything good, just by not doing something bad, you get the merit. The Ramchal, Rav Moshe Chaim Lutzato, Zecher Tzadik Livracha, in the beginning of his Sefer Mesilat Yesharim, he goes on to encourage men, women, to make the right decisions in life, and he adds in something amazing. Meaning make the right decisions in life and attach themselves close to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. He says as follows. He says, based on the hardship that it takes to overcome one's own desires, is as close as you'll get to God. The harder it is for you to overcome your desires, your lust, your human instincts, that's fine. But as hard as it is the closer you will be. For some people they say, it's not hard for me to do a certain mitzvah. It's not hard for me to guard my eyes. Fine, good, as long as they're not succumbing. But one who it's hard for, and he overcomes, and he goes and he pushes himself the extra mile, and he trains himself to use his eyelids and to turn away, he gets closer and closer to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. This is the famous concept, Lefum Tza'ara Agra. Based on the hardship that it takes to fulfill whatever it is the merit. The same is so by overcoming one's desires, and specifically to guarding one's eyes. The Rekanti, an amazing Aharon, who goes on to explain many parts of the Zohar, making it very practical, and he does this with the Parashat HaShavua, a beautiful work. He says as follows. He brings the Gemara that says, Gedolat Teshuvah shemagat ad kiseh hakavod. Teshuvah is so great that it brings the individual who has sinned and now has done teshuvah, proper repentance, all the way up to HaKadosh Baruch Hu's throne, a very, very high and lofty place. And he continues to say, in others, as we know, the Gemara says, place that the Baalei Teshuvah stand, even Tzadikim Gemurim, complete righteous individuals, are not there. What's the reason? So he explains, and maybe we could all have thought about this, it's a very famous concept that he is one of the main sources for, the Rekanti. He says that since this individual now tasted what the sin, we spoke about this, Aiki, tasted what the sin is like, so now he has an even greater desire to dip back into that. And when he overcomes it, not only does he have the temptation of the moment, he has a temptation of, wow, it was so sweet last time. And therefore, he is now overcoming his evil inclination in a much harder and stronger way. He now gets elevated higher to a higher place of Kadosh Baruch Hu. One who's never tasted chocolate. Can you explain them what chocolate tastes like? He's eaten candy. He's eaten sweet things, fruits, everything. There's no way to explain chocolate. Lo alenu v'lo alechem, there are certain sins, which thank God, we cannot explain them. And therefore, one who's succumbed and given into it once or more times, when he overcomes and doesn't give in to the Yetzer Hara again, his merit is multiplied and brought him up to the level of a Baal Teshuvah, one who has done proper repentance and raised him up to Kisei Kavod. Last thing to mention for this evening is the Sefer Hasidim. We have seen the Sefer Hasidim in Hok Israel a couple months ago. The Sefer Hasidim says, I want to read you the word very quickly. It says, V'ikar hozek hasidut mitchila ve'ad sof. The main concept of piousness. You want it encapsulated in a very short amount of words in one single concept is as follows. Af al pi shemitlotzim alav. Even though people are mocking you, everybody's going out to the non-kosher restaurant. Everybody, I'm going so far. Everybody's going to the movie theater. And the film that's being shown is not appropriate. I'll put in brackets, which films nowadays, even rated G, are appropriate. There's definite issues of Shemirat Enayim, of guarding one's eyes. Everyone's going. Are you going to have the guts? You're going to have the backbone and say you're not going? Whether you're making an excuse that's just trying to get you out of it, or open and outrightly saying, I'm not going because that's not where I and we should be. That's what a Hasid is. A Hasid is we're going to the non-kosher restaurant, you're not going with them. You're doing something inappropriate, you've decided, I don't care if they're going to mock me. It's not a good way to say it, but who's going to laugh at the end? Who's going to laugh at who in Olam Haba? Even if it's not a pure motive, but even if that's good enough to remove one from sinning, it is definitely worth it. It says as follows, Eno maniach chasiduto v'kavanato l'shamayim ve'en ro'eh penei nashim. So in general, he's saying that if a person wants to really understand what a Hasid is, a Hasid does the will of God the way he understands it, the way he learned it from Chachamim best, regardless of the mockery and made fun of that others will do of him. So just to sum it up again, the concept of not doing the sin itself brings us closer to Hashem. The hardship of overcoming that temptation brings us closer to Hashem and gives us the merit of a mitzvah, even if a mitzvah was not done at that moment. Bezat Hashem HaKadosh Baruch Hu will save us and give us the strength to overcome the desires and the temptation. Bezat Hashem. Baruch Adonai Le'olam. Amen.